live on YouTube. So we do that so for the sake of those that have missed out on the show, for them to be able to catch up on the show, and then for documentation purposes. Once again to be like a child. So it is pronounced Enyobanke Gongo.
Enyobanke Benny.
Yeah. At first I thought it was Enyobanke, but then
no. Enyobanke Benny.
He who the king is.
Yeah, like I think direct translation would be like you kind of loved or pampered by the king. But I like to say beloved of the king. I think that makes it that's a very concise phrase. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Oh wow. I mean, this were the songs I listened to. How many years now? When I was. When I was 7 or I don't know. Yeah, I'm a 90s child. So and this was released in 2002.
Yes.
I don't quite remember how old I was then, but as a 90s child, this was one of the. If I even heard it in the song, it was a normal play that we used.
Wow.
I grew up in the village, sort of. So.
Oh wow. Where did you grow up?
Ikare, Ondo State.
Ikare. Oh wow. Good.
I got to have all that. And it was good. I think one of my it was my sister that introduced me to your song, and one of my favorites is 7 Lives.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay, good.
Yeah, that reminds me. Is 7 a specific? Is it significant to you?
7.
Yeah.
It was just a song.
I'm talking about that from the 7 Lives, 7 this, 7 that.
Yeah. Well, because in traditional in the traditional belief system, there are certain things, and they say there's a part that repetition plays. That's number one. Like when when
we're going in now. Let me interrupt.
Okay, I'm good with you. I'm good.
Now, if you're streaming on YouTube, you can be very sure that you will catch me there dancing and moving on my seat, because this song is absolutely one of my favorite, all-time favorite, because it just brings back all those childhood memories when we're playing that game. And, for somebody who grew up back in the village, yes, I like to say that, it just brings back a lot of memories. If you play this game together with some other games that you play when you grew up in a town, a small town where everybody was everybody's family, you will understand what I am saying and going on and on about. And this morning, it's an absolute pleasure, an honor, a delight to have with me the person who made the song, this beautiful one. He's a legend, no doubt, in all ramifications. You know him as Beautiful Nubia, but then he is Dr. Olusegun Akinlolu. And he Akmeja. It's a pleasure to have you this morning. Good morning.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
It's lovely. Right now you can catch us on YouTube, and then just search for Smooth 981 FM and you will see us right there. And he's with me live, so you can get to see his face, and you get to see his locks, his signature legendary locks too. So now your name is one, when I was going through and reading some things up on you, your name is one very interesting thing the name, I mean, your stage name, Beautiful
Yeah.
Nubia. Now, beautiful came from a description of the inner part, talking
Yes.
about a state of
Yes.
perfection, something we all should aspire to be,
Yes.
going
Yes.
beyond the physical.
Hmm.
And then you also said that it's a reminder of something you should constantly be, something that keeps you on the track.
Yeah.
And then going to the other part, which is Nubia, it goes
Hmm.
back to the Nubians, which, they used to rule the world. They were kings, they were queens,
Hmm.
they had power. They were not cowering to anybody.
Yeah.
And you say that should be a constant reminder of who the youth of these days, who the Africans, the blacks should be. So
Yes. Yeah.
that is a very, very powerful one. Now I'm
Well,
curious.
because okay, go on, go
Go
on.
ahead. No, no, please go ahead.
Because a lot of people, and when I coined that name, don't forget, this was like in the 90s when I was thinking of a stage name. I thought, well, I could use my own real names. I could say Shegun Akinlolu, or I could say, I was actually, I asked, I had several names in mind. When I was at university, I used to be called a particular, uh, I used to be called OEasy, which was like because I used to write. I was a student journalist, and as I used to sign my articles OEasy, and I thought, okay, I could use that. And then I had some friends who came up with all kinds of names. The funniest one was something like Ras Sheg.
Because of your hair.
So can you imagine that I could have been Ras Sheg? You would have been talking to your Ras Sheg, yeah. But but eventually I decided I needed to have and find the way I was thinking at that time. I was in my late 20s. The passion, the when you have youthful passion and the energy and this
Mm,
idea that uh, we've not always been colonized peoples. We haven't always been second-class citizens of this world. We haven't always been the lepers of the human family.
mm,
All this is recent. Don't forget, uh, before uh, generalized African slavery, before all that, we were regarded as equals, and in some cases, even superiors to many European communities. Africans were seen as experts who went and taught people things, who could be called upon as teachers, as traveling healers, who taught people around Europe and other parts of the world, the power of herbs and the power of using nature to solve problems, things about astronomy, how to harness the power of the stars and using, I use what's out there. What's out there is space. They talk about space now. People
mm,
forget that the earliest space explorers were Africans.
mm,
And, but we've forgotten so much about. So I just thought, let's dial back a bit, go back to a point in history where people like us, huh? People who are dark skinned like us, who are leaders of this world, the Nubians. Nobody is going to argue that. I talk to anybody in the world, European, Indian, whatever. They all agree that the Nubians, about 3,000 years ago, were the top of the pile. They were the leaders of the world. And
mm,
if and I was saying this, 20 something years ago. I've been saying it for a long, long time. Saying youth. I was youth then to myself. And then in
mm.
my 30s, I was still saying it, youth, youth. And then you turn 50 and you're still saying, okay, but maybe the next generation, youth, the next people who are now saying they are youth. And then time just passes. And you can see it in our, our reality. How everybody says, oh, I'm youth, I'm youth. But your youth is such a short time. And if we don't make the most of it, if one generation doesn't come that decides to just take off this yoke of backwardness of then I mean it's just so I use that name anyway to remind us and to energize us, to encourage us to try to find a kind of firm foothold and project into what we could actually be.
Hmm. So how would you say that name is doing in terms of serving as the reminder that you wanted it to be?
Well, just what we did now. People, I know you understand it. I mean, you've seen it. You've probably read it some because the way you said it, I'm sure you've read it somewhere where it was well written out. But that's for me. That's the old thing is that uh, so many young people would tell me, I just
Mm.
used to call you Nobia or Nobia. Some of them call it Nobai.
Oh.
They call it whatever they like. They don't know. But then eventually they come across the meaning and then they start searching. And that's the beautiful
Mm.
thing about like with the internet. Then some people will write me and say, I just started searching from one thing to another, and then they become the experts now trying to teach me. They now come back to me and say, Sir, do you know this? Do I know that? But that's the whole idea that you should go and
Yeah.
find out about your own history. Know about
Mm.
then you will actually stop being small. See, because there's a lot of smallness in our people. They cannot think beyond the fact that they are Christians or Muslims or male or female, or Igbo or Yoruba or Hausa. It's a smallness. And I think when they start to learn and open their minds, start to see there's more to you. There's so much more to you than ethnicity or gender or your religion.
Hmm. Wow. We're just getting into the mix of things, and everywhere is so deep already. Like my feet are already deep in this wealth of knowledge and all the wisdom that you're dishing out. Just in case you're tuning into this channel for the first time, this is Smooth 98.1, Love Music, Love Life. And my guest is Dr. Segun Akinlolu, also popularly known as Beautiful Nubia. He's a word merchant, so just please get used to the mix of things because lots of things are going to be doled out this morning. And maybe if you do not understand one thing or the other, you can just keep your dictionary beside you. That's totally fine. Or maybe you could quickly go online to search for the meaning. He's a rhythm writer. He writes lots of songs. He's a sound bender. Yes,
Mm.
that's who he is because he just, when you listen to all his album, I think about 16 of them, if I'm correct,
Mm-hmm.
you just feel all the bending of the sound and the words and the harmonization, something that goes beyond regular songwriting, of course. That tells you that he's also a very deep songwriter. And that brings me to it, Dr. Segun. How do you actually go about your creative process? I mean, in terms of how you bring out song. Over 16 albums, different feels, the same message in terms of societal
The
reforms.
thrust, yeah.
Yes, the
Like the
thrust.
thematic thrust, yeah.
Yeah. So how do you go about your songwriting process or your ideation process?
Well, the first thing is the gift. You have a gift, you can write. That's for me. That's why I don't know. I cannot speak for other songwriters or for me. I mean, I was reading a book recently about. You remember if what's going on or let's get it on.
Yeah.
Marvin Gaye, right? I was reading a
Yeah.
book
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
him and recently and how he never really wrote a song by himself. Like, oh, this
Mm,
is a song I wrote it, everything. No, he'd love to collaborate. So you might give him a guitar riff, and then he will find some words, and somebody else will add some words, and he was never comfortable writing a song. But my gift is that I've always been able to write. I can write a song in full. I can write instrumentation to that song in full. So,
mm,
uh, I was 9 years old. I knew I could write these songs. They came to me, but I didn't realize how important that gift was until much by 13. I thought, okay, I'm writing these original songs now because I realized they were original songs. So I
yeah.
started writing them. So I wrote song number one. This is this. So the gift is the original thing. That I had a gift and I knew I could write, and these songs would just come to me. Um, what I have done, because it's one thing to say you have a gift. What I have done is to work on that gift, to really hone it, to really develop develop it. They often tell us that the best writers are readers, avid
Mm,
readers. They come
yes.
if you see kids who read a lot, you always know that the tendency is that somewhere in future they'll start writing. People who tend to listen a lot end up becoming quite wise because they pick up wisdom from everywhere. And then when
Mm.
they speak, you'll be like, "Oh, this one get word from mouth," because they can. So, and I think it's the same thing with music. You read a lot, you listen a lot to music that's all around you. You are not the kind of person who discriminates, who looks down
Mm,
on anything. You listen to all kinds of things, and I think eventually it all comes together inside you. So if I'm going to write a song, I don't sit down with the pen and say I'm going to write a song, unless you, for example, you say, um, uh, Alagba, write me a song for my station. Oh, I'm I want to do is for pregnant women, blah blah blah. Then I'm like, why are you putting that load on me? Because I do not like to write on demand. I do not
mm,
enjoy writing. No, I do not. But you know what's funny is that some of my most popular songs have come from that process. A song like Owuro Lojo Eni
yeah.
Marire O. I was asked by someone on radio. Actually, it was a radio station. Somebody in Lagos in the 90s. A friend of mine he was my friend, was working radio, and he said we need a song to wake up Lagos. So I was like, okay. He said, I want it one in Yoruba, I want in English. So I wrote, Good morning,
Morning, my
sweet
neighbors.
Lagos, or
Yeah.
something like that. That's what I
Yeah.
wrote. for them.
Okay.
And then the other one was Owuro Olojo Eni Mari. They were supposed to use them separately, one
Yeah.
English one, but then they didn't. I don't know if they ever used it. So when I was going to record this album, I just merged. It was my song anyway. Maybe I wrote the song for them.
Yeah.
I matched them, and it became Owuro Olojo. So
Oh.
I was asked to write that song. Another song that I was asked to write was Ikoko to for Ilu Orita o Ilu
Ilu
Alafia.
Akeke.
That one. I was asked to
Yeah.
write that song too by Mr. Tunde Kelani of Mainframe Movies.
No.
A movie called The Narrow Path. And I didn't really like. I remember when he told me, I wasn't really, because he's a big name. And then
Yeah.
when a big name like that invites you and says, "Can you write a theme song for this movie?" I'm thinking, "Will you putting me on the spot now? What makes you think?" So I had to go and think about it. I remember going to my mother had a place near a stream at the time. She had a place in an estate, but there was a stream not. And I remember going to that stream and just sitting there one day, and just be like, should I just call this man and tell him I don't do that kind of? My songs must come naturally to me. I don't like. But eventually, that was the same day I got back and I sat down and I started writing it. And the melody I used for that song, da 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 da
Dun,
da
dun,
da da da
dun.
da 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 da. This is a melody that I had composed when I was like maybe 12, 13, when I was a kid. Because I have all these melodies and things I have composed. I have them in books. I have them in my head. And so sometimes I have to go into my past, into my old compositions to find the material I need. So the process for songwriting for me is it's not a one-way thing. But the most common thing is that I just get a song. Let me shock you. You said one of your favorite songs is Seven Lives. Now, Seven
Yes.
Lives, I wrote that in 1989. I was a student at the University of Ibadan, in Ibadan at that time, right? Anybody who knows University of Ibadan, UI,
Yeah.
you understand when I say the distance between Melambi Hall, which is the oldest male hall, and the main gate. Maybe it's about 20, 30 minutes walk. I don't, but I was a student living at Melambi Hall then. And I used to just take evening strolls. And sometimes I'll just walk from my hall to the gate and back to my hall. And that evening, I was just walking. And I still remember it, the wind was blowing so quiet, nicely. And there were leaves, like brown leaves, floating in the air. It was such a kind of peaceful, perfect evening. Yeah, it was so beautiful. I still remember it, the calm. And I was just walking, and this song just came to me like that. In my journey through the world, over land, and the whole thing, all the words came at the same time. They just came to me.
Wow.
I ran to my room and took pen and paper and started writing it. Everything, including the ons line. I started writing it. And so sometimes it's like that. A song just comes to me. I've got the whole idea. I've got all the instruments. I've got the words. Some songs like "Oh What a Feeling," burning me all up. I can't
I
help
can't
myself.
search myself.
That song.
Yeah.
The ara eba mi gboro kan oro. That one I wrote it in 1984. I think I was in high school.
Wow.
I was in high school. So don't ask me what I was thinking about when I was 14 or 15 writing the love. But there was a girl I liked. Yes, 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 and I wrote the song. So I wrote the Yoruba part at that time, and then 10 years later in 1994, 95. So I wrote an English part. I wrote the "Oh What a Feeling," burning me all up. One day I was just thinking, I was just thinking the Yoruba part. One day I just sat in my house looking through because I have all these books. I still have
Yeah.
them. Books where I've written. I mean, the songs I've written down are over 1,000. So I
Wow.
was just flipping through, thinking, yeah, because that's the only way. People still ask me, "Can you sing?" I can sing each of those songs. I still remember the melody.
Interesting.
Yes, because over the years I've always reversed. I go back. I revise them. I try to remind myself. Uh, I'll sing them. And when I was able to start playing guitar, I would sit in my house and I'll play. Some evenings I'll play hundreds of those songs over and over. So they're stuck in my head now. So that day I must have been going through my book, and then I got to this Yoruba song, "Ara Eba Mi Gboro Kan," and then it just occurred to me, "Oh What a Feeling," Bonnie. So I added it. So that's how the chorus came. So you can see it took me 10 years to add the English chorus. And then the other part, I added that 5 years again later.
Wow.
Yeah. When I was going to now record the song, I just felt it needed like a hook. It needed something at the end. So I added that part. So that song on its own took me 15 years to write. Meanwhile, Seven Lives took me just like 10 minutes to write. So it can be like that.
Yeah.
But sometimes I write because of what I've experienced, what I've seen. I don't write myself. I don't usually write about myself. Most of my songs are not really about me.
Yes.
And often they just come. They just come to me and I write. But when I have a song to write, I don't. And when I'm in that mood, I'm like I'm different. I'm not the same person. I'm different because I'm so single-minded. I'm in a different kind of vibe, and people who live with me know that. Because sometimes, even in my house right now, sometimes when I have something I want to write, a song, I'm not aware of it, but they'll start telling me, you were walking about earlier on like a ghost. Because I'm looking for a sound and I'm walking, but I don't see people. I'm just going around the house. I'm singing the song, singing until I find what I want. And then once I have it, I go and write it. So,
I guess it's one of the reasons you're called spirit dancer then, because you just move. You move with it.
The spirit dancer part, it was somebody who started calling me that because he said, I cannot call you the way you dance on stage. It's never like everybody else. You dance in this awkward. He said, so you dance in the spirit. That's what he said. He said, I guess Nubia, you just stand there. So I just said, okay, thank you very much, spirit dancer.
Wow, that is so beautiful. Very, very creative, very different, which is who you are. I think different is definitely one of the adjectives that will be used to describe you. If I should pick out of the adjective to quickly, describe you. So let's quickly take a break. Let's take a cup of water, warm coffee, whatever it is that you have in front of you. And then when we come back, we'll be talking more, especially your kind of music and, how when you started, you were rejected and, people didn't understand your kind of music. Since then, it's been many years after then, you have still stuck to the same kind of music. So I would like to know more about that. This is still Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. Love music. Wow, this is so fascinating. I mean, listening to you break down everything.
Well, I hope I answered the question because sometimes I can go off on tangents like this.
Oh, you did. You did perfectly well. Thank you so much.
On your dial, 98.1.
I love my radio. My radio is my all-day companion.
Infectious rhythm, making you move. It's all about your big songs.
The right kind of music. And of course,
it's all about your fresh news and information.
All the information I can get, all the news I can get. From the house to the car to meetings.
And it's all about the great ingredients you need for your journey home.
Lots of horrendous traffic stress.
Pumping loud. The Smooth Drive Home, right here every weekday from 4 p.m.
And I just want to listen all day long.
Smooth
98.1. 1xBet. Everyone agrees that 1xBet is the favorite bookie because of the highest odds, fast deposits, ability to sell slips, bet insurance, and more. What's even more exciting about 1xBet is that you can make money from things like virtual games, basketball, horse racing, and more. Log on to 1xBet.ng to register, and don't forget to use the promo code RadioWin and get 200% bonus on your first deposit. 1xBet. Bet for every taste.
Love music.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is M.I. Mr. Incredible, and music to me is love, it is life, it is harmony. Love music, love life, Smooth 98.1.
Ojúmọ́ ti mọ́ ara mi ẹ̀gbéra nílẹ̀ iṣẹ́ ti yá. Ojúmọ́ ti mọ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi ẹ̀gbọ́ra jìgì kátúnra mú oníṣẹ́ ọwọ́. alákọ̀wé gbogbo ẹni tó ń wáṣẹ́ ọmọlé ìwé o òwúrọ̀ lọ́jọ́ ẹni máa rírè o ẹni máa rírè o wọ́n á ṣe bá òwúrọ̀ o òwúrọ̀ lọ́jọ́ ẹni máa rírè o ẹni máa rírè o wọ́n á ṣe bá òwúrọ̀ o. Let's go, my beautiful sisters.
Òwúrọ̀ lọ́jọ́ ẹni máa rírè o ẹni máa rírè o wọ́n á ṣe bá òwúrọ̀ òwúrọ̀ lọ́jọ́ ẹni máa rírè o ẹni máa rírè o wọ́n á ṣe bá òwúrọ̀.
The song was like an anthem at some point for the whole nation.
Yeah.
Because I know that we would turn on some TV, we tune into some TV stations, and this would be what we were listening to. Radio stations, it was like that wake up song, and it was just phenomenal, really.
Good morning, I greet you. How do you do? Good morning, I greet you. We got some work to do. Good morning, I greet you. Our words are nice. Good morning, I greet you. It will be a beautiful day. If you do your work with honesty and pride, you will find your dreams coming true very soon. Said if we could be patient and live within the law, there will be much progress. Everyone will be happy. Good morning, I greet you. How do you do? Good morning, I greet you. We got some work to do. Good morning, I greet you. Hours are night. Good morning, I greet you. It will be a beautiful day. Ojúmọ́ ti mọ́ ara mi ẹ̀gbéra nílẹ̀ iṣẹ́ ti yá. Ojúmọ́ ti mọ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi ẹ̀gbọ́nra jìgì kátúnra mú oníṣẹ́ ọwọ́. Alákọ̀wé gbogbo ẹni tó wáṣẹ́.
There's something I'm curious about. So you started your band in 1998.
Yeah.
Since that time till now, do you still have the same original members?
No. There's a couple of core guys, but some people have moved on. A lot of the guys have moved on actually, but not at the same time, over time. Like people going to the UK, to France, to US. We've lost 3 or 4 to the US. So, people don't move on to to different things. So, but I have one of my main core members from way back. He's still with me.
I was coming in. Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. That was Oluwaseun by the legendary Beautiful Nubia, known as Dr. Segun Akinlolu. Yes, I already told you over and over again. That is his name. So, in case you didn't know that about him, you are very, very welcome. Oluwaseun is actually out of the album Jangbala Jubu that was released in 2002, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And he already told you about the whole writing process, which is very, very phenomenal. That's what I'll use in describing it. So, well, before going on the break, I did talk about how when you started writing and, when you decided to go fully into being a musician, from transitioning from being a full-time vet doctor, you did finance, marketing and all that. So you decided to go into the call because music is actually a call for you. It's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
just, yeah. So you set out and then your kind of music was not accepted then. It was said that, it's not what people wanted to listen to because people wanted the feel-good songs
Yeah.
and all that. And yours was too deep or maybe it was too serious for them, whatever it was. So how was that for you?
Well, I mean, it was disappointing for a young person who had these dreams. Don't forget that from like that age of 9, when I knew I had this gift, I always thought that I always felt that I knew that my eventual path would be music, that I had been placed here to play the kind of music that will uplift the people, that will embolden the people, that would inspire the people, And as a young person, if you read and I kept diaries of those years, when I read them, sometimes I cringe myself. The amount of self-belief that was in those diaries, the way I believed I was going to write these songs that people would, many people would listen to, and it would change their lives and, to change our society. I thought at the time, even in my teenage years, that Nigeria was it was a mess. I thought Nigeria was in trouble at that time. And I'm talking about
And
40
now,
years ago. Yeah, because I was 13 like 40 years ago. And I remember, I mean, if you see the things I used to write about how this decadent society, this backward society, this corrupt place, we need to fix it. We are going to do this. I will write songs that will change things. I will do this. So, and I heard all the things that were being played on radio throughout those years. And I'll be like, but I can rap better than this. My songs are better than this. So I guess give me a chance to record, and this country will know there's something different. This country will know there's never be anyone like this ever in the history of this country. This has to be the greatest songwriter, the best melody maker, the whatever. So you can imagine when you have all that kind of self-belief. And then I had an uncle who worked at Aphrodisia Studios, Decca, the old Decca Studios in Yaba. And those who are in music they will know it's a kind of historic recording studio. So I would go there to meet him and say, I'm ready to record. He would say, no, you're not ready. Go and finish school. You're not ready. So eventually, when I finished my school, I started working as a vet. And I had gone to see my uncle, and he said, well, if you have a certain amount, you can do a demo. So I got this demo done. My first salary, I got this demo done. And then he said, he gave me he knew some people in the industry. So he said, go to this person at Sony Music, go to that person at Polygram, go to this person at so. So I went to all of them. And I just remember going to Sony then and being told that, okay, the music is okay, but this is not Nigerian. And I still remember being told that, see, Nigerians like juju, they like Fuji, they like gospel. And I don't think it has changed much up till now. No, yeah, because even what you're calling Afrobeat and all that stuff is
it's
still
all
more or less
infusion of
juju
that.
and Fuji, yes. And he said, this is what Nigerians like. They want to dance, they want to have a good time. They don't want to hear words. Too many words in your songs, yeah, and it's too serious. It's too serious. Yeah, people want to feel. So there was a momentary. Of course, for any young person, I was maybe not too happy about it. But I'm a very stubborn kind of fella. So being told that I can't do something or that the path I was on I didn't agree with that. And when you have a gift and when you know your purpose, nobody can stop you unless your purpose is not right. So I knew my purpose. I knew that there was a reason why I was given this gift, and that I had to use it. And I had to use it the only way I felt it should be used. So I insisted on doing it my own way. Eventually, after trying everybody, going up and down, meeting this and meeting that, I realized, well, you know what? I'm just going to set up my own company.
And that
By
came
then, by
in.
then, I had experience working in a place. I had understood. So I just registered a company. I started my own. So it was going to cost a lot of money to do this. So I decided to just save some money. I started saving, and then I recorded my first album and put it out on my label. And that first album was called Seven Lives. Many people don't
Yeah.
realize that. So that we did before, it was called Seven Lives.
It was a
And
reggae version.
yes. And it had like 10 tracks, I think. And we did 1,000 cassettes. Cassettes were the things at the time. And we did
Yes.
1,000. Yeah, we did 1,000. And we struggled to sell those 1,000 copies.
Wow.
Took us like a year. A lot of it was actually some of my people peddling it on the streets because people didn't know the artist, right? When you don't know someone, so then we struggled to make videos. The money was difficult to find. The people were difficult to find. The people to do a good job for us. I've always struggled with that anyway, my whole career, because I've never had any. It's been hard to find support. People, it's like you want to do this foolish thing, you do it yourself. so,
Wow.
I then after that in 1999 we did the second album, Voice from Heaven. But you know those two albums, as much as I like them, Voice from Heaven he had Joe Baba Eledumare
Mary.
Wasiwelefunwa. That's
Yeah.
where that one was. It was nice. The radio was played on radio a lot. Then we did a nice funky video for that one where we were on the beach and everybody was feeling cool and dancing. That we got a lot of airplay on TV as well. So that was the beginning. I think people started knowing, okay, there's an artist called Beautiful Nubia, and then slowly, but then Jamba Jibu in 2002. And
Yeah,
that,
the
yeah,
breakthrough.
but that was the sound that I wanted from when I was a child. I always had that sound in my head. This is a sound, because those first two albums, I didn't like the sound. I didn't like the direction. It wasn't what I wanted. I had people who were working with me, like I had somebody I called the producer. I had we were in the studio with an engineer who also wanted to experiment with things. So, for example, if you listen to 1999's Voice from Heaven, that album was heavily influenced by the studio engineer because he liked house music. You know, so he was always saying, "Nubia, you sound very like a house. So you know, you do Jogo Baba Ile Dumare." So but then by 2000, I just decided I'm going to do it my own way now. I'm going to do my own arrangements. I'm not going to listen to people anymore. I'm going to. So we set up a band in 1998, and that was the beginning because I had a band. I was rehearsing with my band, and I was introducing these ideas. Play the bass this way for me. Play the drum set this way for me. Some of them would say, "Well, it sounds childish." Just play it that way. I was the one paying anyway. And then Jamba Jubu came out, and boom,
Everywhere.
he got, yeah. And then since then we've just been going forward. What people expected with Jamba Jubu, because many of them they could like oh, what a feeling, they could like pass the calabash. They wanted us to keep doing that same kind of, because people could hold on to some of the flimsy things, and they were not flimsy. Pass the calabash was not really about palm wine. It was more about, in Africa, people always share. We love our neighbors, or we don't discriminate. That is the message. Most Nigerians didn't want that. They didn't listen to that message. All they were talking about, pass the calabash, let's drink palm wine. Now they thought I was going to continue in that vein. But next album after that, I went even deeper, more serious. Then I saw the people in the media withdraw a little. Because now the message was hard again. The message was hard. But I told myself from that moment on, I am not going to pander to people's. No. I'm going to do what I feel I was sent to do, what I have to do, what I have to tell the people. It doesn't matter if it's only 10 people who are listening to it. Those 10 people will mushroom into bigger numbers. But I'm not going to do anything because I want to make my audience, I want to keep an audience. That's not my thing. I do what I think my audience needs to listen to. I don't take my cue from the audience. I do what I think my audience needs to listen to. And I'm always ahead of them. No person who listens to my music is ahead of me. I'm way ahead of all of them. They're still catching up on all my music. Some of them are coming back and saying, "Where have you been, sir?" It's about where you have been. It's about what you have been listening to. Now you've got 350 tracks to go listen to, go and catch up. It's going to take you some time. By the time you are done with that, I've moved ahead another 100 songs. So, this is how I say it. This is what I've been doing.
That is so excellent. I mean, so excellent. I don't even know a better word to use right now. You're kind of knowing that you decided to have a sound, you know, the message you're putting out, and then you stuck to it all these years is actually beautiful. And that brings me to it. So you don't do the kind of songs that every other person does. Your music is not just about the beats and the sounds or the dance that we have these days.
Mhm.
So how then do you, what's your metric for success? How, I mean, in terms of what you
It's
put out, in terms of your music?
for me, this moment is success. Now me come beg you to interview me.
No, Nami, come.
For me, see, many people don't understand in our society, and these are the things that we need to fix. In our society, there's one key thing, and the Yorubas have a very good, and the Igbos and all these other groups, they all have it. It's there if you go and find out ancient wisdom, our traditional wisdom. One of the first things your ancestors, your community will teach you when you're growing up is contentment.
Yes.
It doesn't mean if you have 10 naira, be happy to just have 10 naira and just live like that. But what it means is that you learn to live within your means. You learn to appreciate the smallest things, which means you also appreciate when people show you love. So you might think you're just doing your job. You want someone on your program, and you might think, "Oh wow, I got Nubia to come on my show. That's great." But I think I should be appreciative of you. I should thank you for inviting me to this show. For me, you inviting me, you validate my being. You make me feel special. No matter how big I become, I always appreciate everything. And I'm not saying this out of this. It's not an empty thing that I'm saying. This is actually how I feel. So for me, every small, if one person buys a CD, it means so much to me. And I always say it. I say it to the people who are closest to me. I say, do you know yesterday somebody, like somebody went and bought all our CDs and the books at a store, and then was asking for autographs, and I'm going to get them to come and meet me, and I'm going to autograph. And they'll be like, after you've sold millions of CDs, these 10 CDs are still important to you. For me, every sale is important. Every human being who listens to my music is progress. So if I measured my success by Jamba Jibu sold 10 million, so the next one is selling 2 million, should I be? No, I don't measure it like that. No, I don't even compare my albums like that. No, it's not based on sales. I'm more, as long as my music touches one's soul, I feel I'm successful. Because the way it works, many people don't realize it, is that the way it works is that I don't want to talk about any specific religion, but you check some of the major religions that Nigerians love now. Check. I always tell you, because I think Nigerians understand, at least if you use religious examples, they can relate. So you check those at least the two big religions that Nigerians think they subscribe to. How did they start? They weren't started by millions. It was one person who will say something. 10 people will take it. 50, after that, it will become 50 people, 200 people. 2,000 years later, billions around the world are now embracing the idea of one person. And this is how I look at the music I play. I only need one person to hear it. What I say in that music, it will carry on. It's not about now. People don't understand it. It's not about this moment. My music will become more important when I'm gone. You wait and see. Lagbo, you will still be here because you are younger than me. You are much younger than me. You must not die before me. You will be around long after I am gone, and you will say, and that man told me on my show. He told me that day. My music will be so huge. It will be so huge. It will shock you, because right now people don't realize it. But I'm working for the future. I'm already in that future. And so I don't look at the present. So if I make an album and they say, oh, the radio is not playing it, well, what am I going to do about that? So I can, but as long as somebody is listening somewhere, I know somebody's listening to it. For me, that I have a show, I have people show up at the show. And when they show up at these shows, you need to see their faces, the joy they have, and they sing the songs as if they actually wrote those songs. In actual fact, those songs, many of them don't feel like I don't think of them as my songs anymore. They are now our songs. Because if you come to my show, you see the way people sing these songs, eh? I always tell my band, you should be ashamed. When you miss the ons line, when the audience, okay, for example, there's a solo in that world, for example, like we just played it now, right? Da da
Yes.
da 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 da. You know that solo. And when we get there, sometimes I don't have some ons because sometimes I change ons man, and then I have an ons man and he doesn't really get it and he's playing something else, and the audience is singing. I say, this guy sing, they can even sing they know everything, they know the bass lines. If you change it, they will tell you, no. For me, that is success. So I appreciate big things. The day we sold 1 million copies of Jamala Jigbu, the day we knew for sure that we have sold more than 1 million copies. That day was awesome. But also the day I went to play in a small club somewhere, 100 people showed up in North America, 100 people or more in that small club. And at the end, people lined up and many of them were crying. They said, there's something about the music that just touched us. I will not be the same ever again. And that's a special moment. I hold on to every special moment like that. For me, that is success.
I shall now rechristen this episode as the School of Wisdom with Beautiful Nubia because so many nuggets have dropped. We're running out of time, but then I must ask you this question. You have been very passionate about social reforms, about mindset change, reorientation, especially the younger ones. You are of the catch them young school of thought, if I'm correct. They are the ones that their minds can still be bent, so that they can be told in the right path. And that's why a lot of your songs about tradition, the values that we're putting into them, which of course contentment is a part of it. Now look at this future that is right now and what a lot of people, even the young ones, a lot of them are already about the money, they're about the get rich quick scheme. So how does that make you feel?
Very sad, because a lot of the young people, we like to blame them, but every person you see is a reflection of what was put inside him. And 2 or 3 generations of parents totally failed us. But we're not going to be blaming people and saying, because young people always ask me that, what about what the elders? That has been done. The bad deed has been done. What do we do going forward now? So you see, a person has been born. You can do a rebirth. And I'm always telling people this about rebirth. I'm saying it in my music all the time. I'm showing you certain things. But you are so rigid. You are always looking for the easy way. You keep blaming the ancestors. You keep blaming the leaders. We keep blaming our parents. They didn't raise us right. They didn't tell us the right things. They didn't do, yes, they didn't do all that. But what are we going to do going forward? And most of our people don't want to hear the truth. They will not come to where the truth is being spoken. They want the people who will keep like, you know how much they watch comedy on internet? If you put a video out there where I'm talking about serious things, maybe I'll be lucky to get 5,000 views. But you go and watch when they are watching their comedy, you will see the comedy drop within 1 hour. You will see them 1 point something million views. This is what our people waste their time on, and they want change. You're not going to see that change if you're not going towards where truth is being spoken, if you do not embrace the truth. And you know what I've been saying for a long, long time? The African who will change Nigeria, who will be a world beater, must be a perfect amalgam of traditional wisdom and modern knowledge. I've been saying that like a broken record for a long, long time. And we must embrace those values of our ancestors, the values that can build successful societies, the values of honesty and hard work and perseverance and patience and humility, respect for our environment, respect for children. Because our parents may have failed us, but we must not fail the next generation. Respect for the children, respect for our women, of course, respect for our men too. But respect for our environment, value for our environment. And these things, you may not have been taught them. You can teach yourself now by listening to my kind of music, by reading the kind of books that will give you this vibe. By listening to the kind of music that will give you that vibe. You can take yourself towards that path. Rather than because complaining is not going to change anything. We've got to do something. And a generation that's out there now can do it. I see the numbers and I see the young people look, and they're always around me. If you come to my shows, you're going to see there mostly people in their late teens up to like maybe 30, 20 something. Yeah, that's who you see there. It surprises many people. Because it's young people that come to my shows. Young people. You might see 1 or 2 old people, but it's usually young people who come there. And I'm always happy to see them because I know they will go out and talk to their friends and talk to their... People think Nigeria is a hopeless case. Nigeria has an eventual destiny. It's either going to be carved up into separate bits, or it will have to be restructured in a way that will work for the people. There's no, these are the things, we all know these are the options. Carving things up takes a lot of energy. Restructuring will take a lot of energy too. So, but somehow we have to see what works. I am for whatever whatever people want. If most of our people say they want carving, carve it up. If most of our people say they want restructuring, but the thing is that whatever we are going to do, we have to approach it with honesty of purpose, and that is the key thing.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shego. It's been an absolute wonderful time with you. I mean, all the things that you've dropped and all the pointers, it's like another reorientation on its own. And I hope that people out there are picking up a lot of things, because especially considering the situation that we are in politically, economically, socially, every part, we could use the reform right now. So again, thank you so much for affording me your time and being here. Now, Lagos and everywhere in the world, if you have missed out on this conversation, it's totally fine. Just go to YouTube and catch up. You'll see Smooth Explorer chat with Beautiful Nubia there, and listen to it, digest the words, send it and share it with your friends. And let's be better to our neighbors, to ourselves. Reorientate yourself. I think there is a Yoruba adage that says "Iya mi ti bí mi, matura mi bí," or something like that. Exactly. So now is the time. So stop blaming your environment and just be better for yourself. And that brings me to the end of today's show. Thank you again for being with me from 7 all the way till 10 a.m. Now will be time, or in some minutes time, will be time for the book review. Join Judith TB to take you through that. And afterwards will be time for Total Football. And after that will be time for some beautiful Nigerian music on Metro Life. So yes, it's a very good time here on Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. My name is Olusegun. And of course, you can connect with Beautiful Nubia across all social media platforms. Just search for Beautiful Nubia on Instagram, on Twitter, and head over to his website, where you get to have all his music, his books, his works, and read more about him, because yes, it is very, very important. Again, thank you for being my guest this morning, and do have yourself a wonderful Saturday. Bye.
Each day is a priority.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. It's a joy.
Thank you. I would send this link to your mail so that if you want to catch up on it, you can catch up on it. Thank you
very much. Have a lovely one, eh?
You too, sir. Bye.
Of the future for a lively discussion on risk protection and how insurance relates to everyday life. Tune in weekly to the Leadway Happy Notes every Monday from 5:30 p.m. here on Smooth 98.1.
Smooth 98.1.
Thank you, fam. That's the end of this stream. So we'll catch you later.